We live in a world that demands we hustle harder, push faster, and fight relentlessly for every scrap of success we can find. Society screams that achievement belongs only to those who burn themselves out in the cold pursuit of their distant dreams. But what if everything you have been told is a calculated lie, designed to keep you exhausted and predictable? What if the true secret to manifesting every desire is not found in frantic action, but in the profound, icy peace of letting go? If you continue to grip the steering wheel of life until your knuckles turn white, you will eventually crash into the wall of your own making. However, if you choose to listen to the end, you will learn to step out of the grind and become the architect of the very simulation you currently inhabit. Marcus Aurelius, arguably the most powerful man in history, during the year 161, wrote a simple command in his journal. He told himself to confine his mind to the present moment, because he understood a secret most modern people have forgotten. When we stop fighting the violent current of life and start flowing with it, the world begins to rearrange itself around us. The Stoics were not passive dreamers sitting in the dust, but warriors who conquered through deep wisdom rather than blunt force. Think about the nature of water for a few moments, and how it handles the rocks in its path. It does not struggle or scream against the stone. It simply flows around, over, and eventually through it. Over time, that soft water shapes the entire landscape, not by trying, but by being consistent in its nature. This is the power of relaxed intention, the rare ability to hold your desires lightly, while trusting the natural order to bring them to fruition. When you are constantly stressed about your goals, you are actually broadcasting a signal of profound lack to the universe. Anxiety creates a form of resistance, and that resistance acts like a dam, blocking the flow of abundance into your life. The Stoics understood that our own desperation is often the single biggest obstacle, standing between us and the reality we wish to create. But there is a point where the struggle ends, and the beauty begins. Once you align with the natural rhythm of existence, you become magnetic to opportunities, noticing doors that were always open, but were invisible to a mind clouded by stress. This is not a call to become lazy, or to abandon your ambitions in favor of nihilism. It is about discovering the sharp difference between effortless action and the exhausting, pointless struggle of the ego. It is about learning to plant your seeds with cold intention, and then having the discipline to trust the soil, the rain, and the sun. The Stoics called this amor fati, or the love of fate, which is the deep acceptance that everything unfolds exactly as it should. Today, we will explore 10 profound Stoic principles that will transform how you approach the act of manifestation. These are not merely theories from a dusty book, but practical weapons of the mind, tested by thousands of years of human experience. Each principle will show you how to release the tension that has been blocking your path and step into a flow state where miracles become inevitable. The first principle is the art of detached desire, which presents a paradox that drives most people to the brink of madness. The more desperately you want something, the more it seems to slip through your fingers like sand. Epictetus, who rose from the chains of slavery to become a titan of philosophy, taught that wealth is found in having few wants, rather than many possessions. This is not about giving up on your dreams, but about understanding the toxic difference between wanting and needing. When you need something to feel whole, you create a vacuum of desperation that repels the very thing you seek. When you want something, but are completely okay if it never arrives, you create a state of high-value magnetism. Think about the most successful people you know, the ones who seem to attract luck without even trying. They do not spend their days posting desperate affirmations on social media or talking constantly about what they lack. They hold their desires lightly, like a predator watching its prey from a distance, calm and unbothered by the weight. This is what the Stoics called preferred indifference, where you prefer success and love, but your inner peace is never held hostage by them. This creates a powerful, controlled energy that draws opportunities toward you, because the universe is naturally attracted to those who are not needy. When you practice detached desire, you stop sending out the signals of fear that have been sabotaging your progress for years. The second principle focuses on present moment magnetism, the only place where your power actually lives. Most people spend their entire lives mentally inhabiting a future that has not happened or replaying a past that cannot be changed. Seneca once wrote that true happiness is to enjoy the present, without an anxious dependence upon what might come next. This is more than just a nice thought. It is a form of practical, psychological magic that changes your energy. When your consciousness is fully anchored in the now, you notice the subtle opportunities that a scattered mind would miss entirely. You hear the casual remark that leads to a breakthrough, or feel the intuitive nudge to change your path at just the right time. Presence is not just about awareness. It is about the quality of the energy you are vibrating into the world. When you are truly present, you are operating at your highest possible frequency, free from the heavy baggage of regret and anxiety. This energy is incredibly attractive to both people and circumstances, making you the most interesting person in any room. The beautiful irony of this practice is that when you stop living for the future, you actually create a much better one. Opportunities do not exist in the imaginary land of tomorrow. They exist in the sharp awareness you bring to this very second. Stop living in the waiting room of your own life and step into the reality where things are actually happening right now. The third principle is the wisdom of accepted resistance. Recognizing that life will always place obstacles in your path, this is not a possibility. It is an absolute guarantee that you must prepare for with a cold mind. Marcus Aurelius faced plagues, betrayals, and endless wars. Yet he believed that the impediment to action actually advances action. He taught that what stands in the way eventually becomes the way, turning every setback into a strategic setup. When you stop fighting against reality and start dancing with it, resistance ceases to be an enemy and becomes a teacher. Most people hit a wall and assume the universe is working against them, so they get discouraged and quit. But what if every obstacle is actually a test, designed to see if you are ready for the level of success you are asking for? Consider how an oyster creates a pearl, not by wishing for comfort, but by dealing with the irritation of a grain of sand. Your struggles are not punishments from a cruel fate. They are invitations to grow into a person capable of holding power. When you accept resistance, instead of resenting it, do you stop wasting precious energy on anger and frustration? You become like water once more, flexible and persistent, moving through challenges with a calm that unnerves your opposition. Trust the process, even when the path looks like a dead end, because the universe sees the entire map while you only see the turn. The fourth principle is the power of inner authority, a truth that will set you free from the opinions of the masses. You have likely been giving your power away to everyone around you, letting external circumstances dictate your internal state. The Stoics discovered that true manifestation begins when you reclaim your throne and stop making the world the boss of your mood. Epictetus famously taught that no one can hurt you without your own permission, a concept that goes far deeper than simple resilience. Every time you say you will be happy when you get a promotion, or feel successful when you hit a number, you hand the keys to your life to a stranger. It is exhausting to live as a puppet, where your confidence rises and falls with your bank account or the validation of others. When you reclaim your inner authority, you realize that joy and abundance are internal decisions, not external rewards. This shift creates massive manifesting power because you are no longer operating from a place of hunger. When you know you can be happy regardless of what happens, you make bolder, more strategic decisions. People can sense this internal fortress, and they are naturally drawn to the strength of a person who does not need them. Change the internal landscape of your mind, and the external world will have no choice but to follow your lead. The fifth principle is the art of strategic non-action, a concept that might sound lazy to those addicted to the grind. Our culture equates constant motion with progress, but much of what people call action is actually just anxiety in disguise. Lao Tzu, whose thoughts echoed through Stoic philosophy, taught that the sage achieves greatness by not attempting anything forced. Sometimes, your biggest breakthrough will come not from doing more, but from having the courage to do absolutely nothing. We stay busy because stillness makes us uncomfortable, and we fear that if we stop, everything we have built will fall apart. But this frantic, nervous energy often pushes away the very success we are trying to attract. Strategic non-action means having the confidence to step back when you have done your part and letting the situation develop. It is the wisdom of knowing when to plant the seeds and when to let them germinate in the silence of the dark soil. Think about a master chess player who does not move a piece just for the sake of moving, but waits for the perfect opening. Their patience is their greatest weapon, and their restraint is their most effective strategy in the long game. When you learn this art, you stop exhausting yourself with busy work that does not actually move the needle forward. You begin to trust your intuition, discovering that the universe often needs space to work its magic without your interference. The sixth principle involves using gratitude as a manifestation force rather than just a polite social gesture. Most people view gratitude as a response to receiving something good, but the Stoics viewed it as a proactive mental state. When you truly appreciate what you already possess, you create a magnetic field of abundance that pulls more toward you. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would deal with difficult and ungrateful people, yet he still found reasons to be thankful. Here is what happens on a deep level when you practice real Stoic gratitude. You shift your entire mindset from scarcity to fullness. Instead of focusing on the void of what is missing, you acknowledge the solid reality of what is present. This is not about fake positivity or ignoring the problems in your life. It is about choosing your perspective with surgical precision. True gratitude acknowledges the harshness of reality, while choosing to find value in the challenges that make you stronger. When you wake up in a state of appreciation, you start your day at a high vibration that attracts similar experiences. When you go to bed grateful, you program your subconscious to look for more things to value while you sleep. This creates an upward spiral where your focus on abundance literally creates more abundance in your physical reality. Gratitude turns what you have into enough, and enough is the only solid foundation upon which you can build more. The seventh principle is the strength of emotional sovereignty. The realization that your emotions are created by you, not given to you. This single insight has the power to destroy the chains that have kept you reactive and weak for years. Seneca taught that a mind seeking the truth turns away from the new and unknown toward the eternal and the divine. Your emotional reactions are choices, even if they feel like automatic responses to the chaos of the world. When you master this, you reclaim the throne of your own experience, and nothing can shake your core. Imagine two people facing the same financial disaster. One crumbles into despair, while the other uses the pressure to find a solution. The difference is not in their bank accounts, but in their emotional sovereignty and their refusal to be victims of fate. This does not mean you suppress your feelings or pretend to be a robot, but that you feel them without letting them drive your life. You acknowledge your anger without letting it become destructive, and you honor your fear without letting it paralyze your movement. This creates incredible power, because your emotions are essentially the creative energy you use to build your reality. When you can choose peace in the middle of a storm, you become a powerful magnet for peaceful and stable circumstances. Your emotions should be your messengers, giving you information, but they should never be allowed to be your masters. The eighth principle is the philosophy of enough, a direct challenge to a world that says you always need more to be happy. The feeling of being enough is not about the quantity of your possessions, but about how you relate to what you already have. When you master this philosophy, you unlock a level of contentment that no luxury car or high-rise office can ever provide. Seneca, who was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, wrote that it is the man who craves more who is truly poor. He understood that fulfillment is an internal state, not a collection of items, and that true power comes from being satisfied. This does not mean you stop striving for more, but that you stop needing more to feel like a valid human being. Here is the secret paradox. When you genuinely feel like you have enough, you stop operating from a place of hunger and desperation. Abundance energy attracts abundant experiences. And when you are not grasping for more, more tends to come to you naturally. Think about the people who are energetically attractive. They are the ones who seem content with their lives while still being excited for growth. This contentment is not complacency. It is a form of supreme confidence that says you are already whole and valuable. From this foundation, you can pursue your goals from a place of love and excitement, rather than the fear of being inadequate. Feel the richness of your life as it stands today, and watch as that energy creates miracles in your tomorrow. The ninth principle is the courage of authentic expression, which is often the missing piece in the manifestation puzzle. One of the biggest blocks to creating the life you want is living a life that was never actually yours to begin with. When you are constantly trying to meet the expectations of others, you create an internal resistance that acts like a wall. Marcus Aurelius noted how much trouble a person avoids by not looking at what their neighbor is doing or saying. The courage to be authentically yourself, regardless of the criticism of the crowd, is a form of supreme manifestation power. When you are not being authentic, you are essentially lying to the universe about who you are and what you truly want. How can life give you what you are meant to have? If you are busy pretending to be someone else entirely, authentic expression does not mean being rude, but having the integrity to speak your truth and follow your unique excitement. It means making decisions based on your core values, rather than the shifting trends of a society that does not care about you. The beauty of authenticity is that it naturally attracts the right people and repels the ones who do not belong in your circle. When you stop trying to please everyone, you finally start manifesting the experiences that will actually fulfill your soul. This takes a cold kind of courage, but the liberation of being yourself is worth more than any amount of false approval. The 10th and final principle is trust in divine timing, the understanding that everything unfolds when it is meant to, not when you demand it. This is not a form of passive waiting, but an active, disciplined faith in the logical intelligence of the universe. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should accept the things to which fate binds us and love the people fate brings into our lives. The Stoics believed in a purposeful universe where everything happens for a reason, even if that reason is hidden from us. Your own impatience is often your biggest enemy, creating a friction that slows down the very things you are trying to speed up. When you demand that life happens on your schedule, you act like a child fighting against the wind. But when you trust in divine timing, you relax into a rhythm that is much larger and wiser than your personal agenda. You understand that a delay is not a denial, but often a form of divine protection or a period of necessary preparation. Sometimes, you need to grow into the version of yourself that can actually handle the weight of the success you are asking for. Think about the greatest blessings in your life, and how many of them arrived exactly when you expected them to. Probably very few. Most of your best moments likely came as surprises, appearing when you were finally ready to receive them, not when you were chasing them. Do your part with total dedication, and then surrender the outcome with the grace of a king. The ancient Stoics did not have vision boards or journals dedicated to the law of attraction, but they understood the mechanics of reality. True manifestation is not about manipulating the world to get what you want. It is about becoming who you need to be. When you align with these 10 principles, you stop fighting against the nature of life and start flowing with its immense power. This is not about lowering your standards or giving up on your grandest ambitions. It is about raising your consciousness to a higher level. It is a state where miracles become natural, where synchronicities become common, and where what you need finds you automatically. The Stoics knew that true peace is not the absence of trouble, but the unwavering presence of wisdom within your mind. Wisdom, when applied consistently, creates the perfect internal conditions for everything good to flow into your physical life. Your manifestations are already on their way to you, and your only job is to remain relaxed. Trust the process and stay ready. Remember that the world is a reflection of your internal state. So focus your energy on building the fortress of your mind. If you are ready to receive the life you have been dreaming of, make a commitment to yourself to master your own reactions. To seal this message into your spirit, tell yourself that you will relax, you will trust, and you will receive. Until the next time, stay stoic, stay strong, and keep your mind open to the miracles that are already surrounding you.